Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 57 and season 3. I can't believe it. Season 3 of the Essential Zodiac podcast. I'm your host, Cynthia McNulty.
And I'm Audrey Fannin.
So today is a very special episode in more ways than one. First, we're going to talk about the equinox. The spring equinox is coming and how to use this awesome energy coming our way. And drum roll, please. I have a special guest, our very own Audrey Fannin.
Oh, that's me.
Yes. Who, in addition to being an amazing producer and one of my dearest and bestest friends, is also an amazing gardener. And she is going to impart her wisdom about getting your gardens ready for spring planting. But first, the equinox. So on March 19th brings the equinox, a time of equal night and day and the beginning of spring. It is said that on the equinox, the energy grid of the planet moves into higher harmony, allowing us to soak in the healing powers of Mother Nature with greater ease. With the energy grid of the planet alive and awakened, we can also replenish our own energy centers of the body and send our thoughts and intentions out into the universe for creation. So here is the time. This is the perfect time for your New Year's resolutions, planting the seeds, and taking care of them throughout the year. So now is the time to think about what you want for this new year coming. What intentions, what goals do you have on your mind? So along with this powerful equinox energy, we also celebrate the start of the astrological year on this day. This is because in Western astrology, the March equinox coincides with the start of the Aries season, the first sign of the zodiac. As we move into the first sign of the zodiac, we begin a new journey, a new trip around the sun, where we get to experience the energies and vibrations of each of the 12 zodiac signs all over again. The March equinox, therefore, becomes a significant power day in our year, where we can celebrate the new, welcome the fresh starts it brings, and set intentions for the years to come. And one of the things I did want to mention is the spring equinox, the beginning of the Aries season on March 19th, is astrologically the tropical zodiac. Anybody who follows sidereal, which is more the Indian, Chinese side of things, their equinox is different because they follow a different plan. So this is for tropical zodiac. Now, in 2024, the energies of this time are heightened by the upcoming Libra lunar eclipse on March 25th. That is going to be the Libra full moon. Although this eclipse is almost a week away from the equinox, we tend to feel eclipses up to a month before and a month after they arrive. Eclipses tend to bring high intensity, transformative energy that can rattle and upend our lives. Eclipses can affect us all in different ways, but on some level, we all experience a transformation. Now, of course, I'm going to have a lot more information for you on that when we do that episode. The March 25th eclipse is one of endings, and our focus may be centered around a relationship or relationship dynamics that have been playing out throughout our childhood wounding. This eclipse can help unravel those inner workings and bring to our attention all that needs to be completed so we can create the relationships we desire. With the eclipse on the horizon, we can use the energies of the equinox to set intentions for what we wish to manifest in our lives. We can use its powerhouse of energy to create goals, change our routine, and take action on healthy habits. While it's always a good time to do this, we are likely to feel more supported as we take these type of actions with the equinox energy, the new energy out there. So here's how to use the energies of the spring equinox. Allow new inspiration, new ideas, and new perspectives to filter into your being under the March equinox. Allow yourself to wash away all of the old, outdated, and outworn thoughts, feelings, situations, and habits that are no longer serving your highest good. And I know that that's not easy, okay? Things that we've done for years or, even months, sometimes it's really hard to let go of. But, take this opportunity, take this wonderful energy that's coming your way to improve your life. Move through your body and cleanse and release every cell. Make it a point to take a deep breath and breathe out all that no longer supports you. Hold the highest version of yourself. Perhaps it's time for a Reiki session. Either, have someone do it or do your own chakra cleansing. But that's a really good way to use this equinox energy. This energy is a gift, but it's up to us to use it. Go outside on this day and surround yourself with the healing power of nature. Pull an oracle or tarot card for yourself. Meditate, journal, create intentional time around what you wish to fill this new year with and what you wish to heal. The universe will be on your side. And so will I, because for Astro Tarot, I have a spring equinox spread. So you want to go take a peek at that at my website. And here's a quick reference list of some ways to utilize this energy. So like I said, spend time in nature. Now is the time to set goals for the new year. Start a new healthy habit. End unhealthy habits. And you could take this one at a time. I mean, don't overload yourself. So let's say you want to cut down on sugar because you drink, too many sodas or things like that. And you also want to stop eating junk food or, less processed food. Well, take one at a time and feel comfortable with it. Let it become part of your routine and then move on to another habit or, something that you would like to embrace. Clear the clutter and cleanse your space. Pull an oracle card or have a spiritual reading. And get focused on what you wish to attract. Because that's true. What you think about, what intention you put out there comes back to you. Karma works both ways, remember. It's the good comes to you and the bad comes to you. So you want to make sure you put out positive vibes. You want to make sure that you attract, good and positive energy your way. So I'm going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from our Audrey.
Visit EssentialZodiac.com to take a look at Cindy's current promotions. There's the happy birthday offer for those of you with March birthdays. Get your solar return reading and see what the coming year has in store for you. And there's also the relationship composite chart, a chart that's not yours, not your loved one's, but a completely new one created by your relationship together. Again, check out the details at EssentialZodiac.com. Back to you, Cindy.
Well, back to you, Audrey. Oh, I never said that before.
That's new.
In 3 years. This is cool. So, Audrey, our resident gardener, share with us your wisdom and your magic.
Well, I was thinking about what to share for the Essential Zodiac podcast. And it makes sense to talk about gardening by the moon.
Ah, excellent.
And gardening with the astrological aspects.
Sure. Oh, I love that. I knew you would come up with something brilliant.
So what's going on right now for me in my garden is I have a number of different stages going. So I still have a few plants that I planted late in the fall that are producing. Like just a couple days ago, I harvested some more broccoli. And for the first time ever, that difficult plant, cauliflower.
Oh. So all you gardeners out there, I bet you're jealous now. That is great.
Well, it took years for me to get 3 heads. So.
Well, persistence. You are a Taurus, so you're very persistent.
And so I have some seedlings started on the heat map that you gave me years and years ago, Cindy.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So some tomato plants are coming, some basils.
Oh, you got to plant tomatoes. That's the standard, right, for a garden.
And then some perennials are starting to show back up in the garden. So, and then there's like all the garden cleanup I still need to do,
Sure.
and some pruning for the blueberries, and just did a huge elderberry pruning a couple weeks ago, and tried to get people to take some of those canes off my hands.
Well, I would just kill them. I do not. I have the black thumb. All of my fingers are the black thumb. I am not a gardener. My poor grandmother, she'd be so disappointed in me because she was the ultimate gardener in our family, but did not get the gift. So I rely on Audrey for my fruits and vegetables. Because there's always a bumper crop, there's always a bumper crop of something.
So, when I was a kid, I absolutely hated our garden because my job was weeding. And it wasn't until the early 90s when I really caught the gardening bug. And it just, started with the black thumbs and eventually got better. So it was persistence, like you said.
That's what you are, persistent. Good job.
So I wanted to share, you hear about gardening by the moon.
Right.
And there's a couple of different ways to do that. I mean, the absolute simplest way to go about it is to think about the waxing moon as the moon gets bigger.
Sure.
You work on plants that you harvest above the ground. So fruits, vegetables, herbs, things that produce above ground.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
And then on the waning moon, you're working on plants that you harvest from below ground. So your root crops. So
that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So that's just the simplest way to approach it. And really, it's just kind of following, like the moon affects the tides. If you're a woman, you know very well how the moon affects you.
Yes. Yes, everybody. I can hear all the women nodding their heads out there. Yep. We know, don't we, ladies?
So the moon just moves water around. And so gardening by the moon is just following the course of the water. And then there's like the 4 quarters moon method, which is just a little more involved, right? So in this case, you've got your first and second quarter, which is your waxing moon, and you sow and you plant all the above ground produce, so no root crops. On the full moon itself, you do like non-seeding tasks, because if you plant seeds at that point, they're going to germinate really quickly, but they have a tendency to be spindly.
Yes. Okay.
Not robust. And then the third quarter, waning moon, so you're harvesting, pruning, putting in your root crops, planting trees and bushes. And then the fourth quarter, you don't do any planting. At that point, you're cultivating, you're pulling weeds, you're dealing with the pests that have turned up in your garden.
Right. Yep.
And then on the new moon, you prep your garden spaces. Don't seed anything. It's not a very fertile time. Or just take a break.
Right. I think just go and look at everything that you've done so far and just enjoy it.
Yeah. So that's the method I've kind of settled into, this 4 quarters method, just a little more involved than the basic, waxing and waning.
Right.
And I've done these next two ways to garden, but I found them to be like too much of a hassle for me. So, but y'all, as you're listening, this might be just what you want. And it's great to do it a couple times just to kind of get into the flow of it. So,
definitely.
So following, the astrology, your aspects that change constantly.
Right.
So this is all about following the natures of each sign. So whether it's a barren or fertile and productive sign.
Right. That goes along, folks, with like active and passive, or sometimes you'll hear it referred to as masculine or feminine. And those are just the way the particular sign acts.
Yeah. To parse it down into a couple of the other aspects of
Sure.
it, you've got the dry or moist, airy, fiery, watery, or earthy, and then, like you said, masculine or feminine. So,
Right.
So those four qualities, each will have a different sort of effect on your seeds and your plants and your harvest and your pests.
Yes. Interesting. Yes.
And I found, you need a good guide with that. So, I've used Llewellyn's calendars because they're very forward about that. You can use the trusty old Farmer's Almanac, which
Oh, yeah.
so it gives like crops and moon favorable planting dates based on what they call the zones. So not our USDA zones,
Right.
but it works.
Yeah, no, I mean, that the few times I've looked through the original Farmer's Almanac, it always does take me by surprise that, it has like moon planting guides. And I thought, how wonderfully pagan. It's like, how wonderful is this? I always found that fascinating.
There are calendars out there that you can actually buy that are prepared for people who want to garden by the moon and garden by the astrological cycles. And you can also get an app. And I used to have a fabulous app that they're not supporting anymore. So I'm on the hunt.
Okay. All right. You'll have to, when you find one, let us know, and we'll put that little blurb in the next episode or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm on a Samsung. So some of the cool apps that you've got on your iPhone, I don't have access to, so I'm testing.
Oh, right. All the different phone. Oh, yeah, it's amazing what's out there.
Yeah. And then the truly all-in method is, following the moon cycle and the astrological cycles. So it can be as complicated as you want it to be.
That sounds that. Yes, it sounds that. But I don't know. I think it sounds also very fulfilling when you get it all worked out. It's like astrology sometimes is like a giant puzzle. And when you fit all the pieces together, it's very fulfilling. So I would say same with the garden.
Yeah. What I love about gardening by the moon is that you're very intentionally in the rhythms of nature when you do that.
Oh, yeah, very much. Sure.
And something I had jotted down to mention that you mentioned before we went to the break, which was, just perfect. Get focused on what you wish to attract. So, you're more intentional when you're following the cycles of the moon and the astrological cycle. So that turns into more attention to your garden as well.
Yeah, I like that. I noticed one of my clients said to me once, because she gets the monthly forecast that I offer, and she said it gives her a plan. She can look at what's happening for the month, and she can decide, how she's going to use that energy, what's the positive, what's the negative. And, honestly, my tagline is, with astrology, you could chart your life's course, and it's very true. And it works in lots of facets of your life. Audrey uses it for her gardening. Some people, and this is a very niche market, I'm not familiar enough with it, but medical astrologers or financial astrologers, those are two very niche markets that are very interesting, but, not something I do. So, yeah, I mean, astrology has a lot of uses, and the energy is always there for us to take advantage of. So, Audrey, any final thoughts for future gardeners or present gardeners out there?
Well, go out and get your fingers dirty in the dirt because finally, it's springtime and we can actually get out there.
Yes, I know, it's winter always seems so long and dreary. And, I know like in our area, it's been kind of rainy in North Carolina, kind of rainy and drizzly. But today's beautiful. It's got a beautiful day today. So, it's something to always look forward to. I always feel energized in the spring, like many people do. So, very cool. Thank you so much, Audrey.
Well, thank you for inviting me to talk about gardening.
Well, you're always there. And, it's like everybody's always hearing me. So I'm like, we need to hear from Audrey. And this was a perfect spot for her. And I'm going to try to do this for my other earth-based podcast. So we have the summer solstice coming up after this in June. So I'm going to try and get a guest for the summer. And in the fall, while it's not confirmed, Mr. Essential Zodiac podcast might grace us with his presence and do a beer episode because he's a home brewer.
His beer is fantastic.
Yes, Audrey. I can't partake because gluten and meat don't get along, and having a beer is like drinking liquid bread, so not a good idea. But Audrey has had the opportunity, and so she gives it a thumbs up.
Absolutely.
So, yes. So that concludes this episode. It's been a fun one. I hope you've enjoyed it. Our next episode is going to be, as I said previously, about the Libra full moon lunar eclipse, and that will air on March 22nd. Also, I will have more information on the equinox on my website, along with your equinox horoscopes. And as I said, remember, with astrology, you can chart your life's course.
Thanks for joining us for our first episode of Season 3 of the Essential Zodiac podcast. And Cindy, thanks again for inviting me to be your guest.
Oh, thank you, hon. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
We have new episodes coming your way every other Friday with special episodes from time to time. If you like what you hear on this podcast, we hope you'll share it with your friends and family. Stay in touch between episodes on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just look for Essential Zodiac. And of course, there's more on the website, essentialzodiac.com.